Hello again, and welcome to another rip-roaring episode of Odders Plays. Fuck yeah! I want to say thank you very much, everyone, for your feedback on the last video, telling me your wishes and hopes for Nintendo's E3 2014. Doing a follow-up video, purely because I said if it got enough attention, then I would do a follow-up video. And actually, I got way more feedback than I actually ever anticipated, just proving that this is a really hot topic and it's something that gamers love talking about. So first off, I want to go through Nintendo's recent acquisition. Today we had Nintendo's financial report come out, and massive losses, okay? Massive losses due to the fact that Wii U just is not selling as well as we would like it to, or Nintendo would like it to. And a surprise in that report was that Nintendo actually spent $100 million in acquiring something, a tech firm, a tech company of some sort in the last quarter of last year. And that's pretty much all we know. What could Nintendo have done this for? A proprietary technology that they don't want to share? Something they thought was promising that they grabbed? I have no idea. Maybe they're just preparing for a console in the future. Who knows? This could even be something to do with the online infrastructure. I really have absolutely no idea. But it's something that I would really love to speculate on. And I think if we're going to hear about it this year, we're probably likely to hear about it at E3, which is why I'm mentioning it. And that's one of the things I just wanted to mention. And another one that I wanted to throw out there was, is it Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire? I'm pretty sure that's the right way around. Wow, that was a big surprise announcement today. Came out of absolutely nowhere. It was just like, hey, Pokémon games, you wanted the Gen 3 remakes? They're coming. And I'm happy about this because personally, I think Gen 3 was probably the last time I got really excited for a Pokemon game. I remember first turning on Pokemon Sapphire, having a US import, and like pretty much shaking. The fucking screen started up, and I was in the back of a moving van going to a brand new Pokemon town, and that felt exhilarating for me. So I'm really excited about Gen 3 coming back. So going with all of your hopes, wishes, everything you'd really love to see at Nintendo's E3, we're going to kick it off with Metroid. Something that so many of you said you want to see, whether it's on Wii U or 3DS. Personally, judging by the way Nintendo's been going lately, I think 2D Metroid, well, 2.5D Metroid on the 3DS is totally likely. I don't think it'd be first person. I think it really would be a side-scroll platformer. Yeah, a Metroidvania game, a proper Metroid game. I think we'll see something like that on 3DS. I have absolutely no reason to back this up. I just feel like if we're going to see a Metroid game anytime soon, I think that's the way we'll see it. I think we'll see it as a 3DS title. Don't get me wrong, I think we need more Wii U games right now, and I'd love to see a Metroid game on Wii U soon. But unfortunately, I just don't see it happening. I'm sorry, I just don't. Next up, a lot of people have been speaking about a new IP, they say. They reckon they're going to see a new IP at this year's E3 from Nintendo. And sure, I think it could happen. Did you hear about Codename Steam? And that is apparently an alien extermination game, which Nintendo has filed a trademark for. But trademarks from Nintendo don't always mean products. It just doesn't. It doesn't mean they're going to release a product about killing aliens. They've trademarked one. They could be developing one, but whether they ever want to announce that or even release it, who knows? We may never ever know why Nintendo trademarked this. This is just how Nintendo works. But I do think we will see a new IP at this year's E3. I don't know why, call me mad if you wish, but I really do think we'll see some form of new IP. Right, next up, everyone really likes WarioWare, and I can understand why. WarioWare on the DS, I thought was so good. WarioWare on the Game Boy Advance, I thought was so good. WarioWare on the GameCube, I thought was so good. WarioWare on the Wii, it's alright. But Game and Wario, not quite the same thing. So yeah, a new WarioWare game on 3DS, I think, decent possibility. I mean, I can't imagine WarioWare games, especially on the handhelds, taking as long to develop as so many other Nintendo titles. So I think seeing that on the 3DS, there's a decent possibility of that happening. Continuing, a lot of people have been talking about Super Smash Bros. Understandably, fucking hyped, right? And everyone's been talking about how they haven't seen anything from Captain Falcon yet. Absolutely right. I think, obviously, Captain Falcon's going to be in Super Smash Bros. 4. I think that's just, it's going to happen. It has to happen. There's no question in my mind that we'll see Falcon in it, at all. And a lot of people have been saying, when are we going to see him? When are we going to see him? And a couple of people have actually mentioned, I think, this was even in an IGN podcast from like ages ago. They said, I think that we'll see a new F-Zero game announcement, and at the same time, hey, Falcon's in Smash. And I actually think that's not the most far-fetched thing I've ever heard. I can imagine either, I would love both of these, by the way, Nintendo. I would love a 60 frames per second F-Zero on Wii U, just going ridiculously fast. The cars all looking incredible. The lighting has to be great. The lighting is key in a game like that. You've done it so well before. I really think it'd be spectacular, honestly. You don't have to have any gimmicky bullshit. You don't have to do it like Captain Falcon's Twister Race or some shit. You can just make a straight up F-Zero. And you know, you guys could do it. It'd be great. Also on 3DS, I think F-Zero is really well made for the 3DS's 3D screen. And it would just be a perfect fit. So if I think that's a possibility. I don't see why it's not, you know. Absolutely could happen. How good the graphics would be on 3DS, I don't know. Whether they'd be able to get us to 60 frames per second on 3DS, I don't know. Because pretty much one thing I do know is that it would probably be more graphically demanding than, say, A Link Between Worlds. So 60 frames per second might be a bit more of a struggle. Especially if you're doing that in 3D as well, because to be honest, I'm still surprised that fucking the GameCube could run F-Zero GX, to be honest. Moving onwards, next up I want to talk about Majora's Mask 3DS, another one that you guys really want to see. You really want to see Majora's Mask 3D on 3DS, and I can completely understand why. Ocarina of Time 3D looks so good in comparison to the original Ocarina of Time. It really does. There is a huge difference. Gameplay, of course, there's like no difference. Level layout, there's like no difference. But graphically, it looks gorgeous. The textures look great. The character models look great. That game, I never thought it looked bad until I saw it on 3DS, and I was like, everything I saw before was kind of shit in comparison. So I can understand why you guys want to see Majora's Mask 3D. I would fucking play the shit out of Majora's Mask 3D because I thought Majora's Mask was incredible. Absolutely incredible. Will it happen? I actually kind of think it will happen, yeah. Because Nintendo can give development to Grezzo again. I think that's right. I think it's Grezzo. Nintendo can shift development elsewhere, away from their main Nintendo team or Zelda team, and they can just let it happen. It happened with Ocarina of Time, and that came out really well. There's no reason why they couldn't just have a couple of guys overseeing the project and having it. Otherwise, development can be outsourced to another studio. Totally possible. I'd totally be happy with it, and I don't think it's the most far-fetched thing I've ever seen. However, we can pretty much guarantee we'll see Zelda U at this E3. It just has to happen. We can pretty much guarantee that. And as a result, I don't think we would also see a Zelda on 3DS being announced. Sorry guys, I just don't see it happening. I really don't. It upsets me to say it. I already mentioned that Pokémon Ruby and Sapphire Gen 3 was announced for remakes for the 3DS today. And yeah, well that's spectacular. We are definitely going to see more of that at E3. 100%. I reckon we'll see some gameplay. I reckon we'll see some shit go down. The announcement trailers for it was a bit odd. It was literally just the box art, and it was like, this is happening. And Twitter blew up, Facebook blew up. Suddenly Nintendo had like 4 or 5 like the top trends in the US and the UK and most territories, to be fair. They just dominated straight away. And I have a feeling that this was really to take attention away from the quite poor financial report. I think they might have actually waited to have it announced at E3 had the financial report had it looked a bit better. They might have been like, you know what, we'll hold it after E3. But I think they really whacked it out on purpose because they knew the financial report was going to have a lot of doomsayers go down, a lot of articles saying Nintendo's doomed, Nintendo's going to close down. They knew those articles were coming. They knew that sort of, oh my god, what Nintendo, what are you doing stuff was coming. And they were like, well, no one can say we're going to go broke if we have a new Pokemon game on the way. And fuck me, Nintendo, that worked, straight up. Another thing you guys really want to see is Advance Wars on 3DS. And again, totally agree. I actually didn't play the Advance Wars games on the Game Boy Advance. And I can't say I've played Famicom Wars, etc. But I played it on the original DS, and I really enjoyed Advance Wars. Really did. I thought it was great. I remember one of the DS versions had a real-time game mode where you could like fire by touching somewhere on the screen and moving about the control pad, and I thought that was great. I thought the main game was obviously great. I'm a big turn-based strategy fan, like Fire Emblem and stuff. I'd probably prefer a Fire Emblem Awakening sequel, to be perfectly honest, but I don't see that happening. And as a result, more than happy for Advance Wars to come back. Absolutely. People have been suggesting there'll be a sequel to... Okay, so it's Pull Blocks and Fall Blocks in the UK, and the US it's Pushmo and Crashmo. There we go. A sequel to those, a third entry in that little series, and yeah, why not? I actually think that's the sort of game Nintendo would be like, this is coming out in a month to download. This is coming out in a week to download. This is coming out on the eShop straight after this presentation. I could totally see that happening. Absolutely. And another thing you guys want to see is a release date for Monster Hunter 4U. And again, yeah, I can see that happening. Absolutely. Hopefully we'll get some of the nice little bits of DLC that Japan has had as well, like Mario and Luigi costumes, Zelda style costumes. I would love to see all that shit, and I would probably invest money in it pretty much straight away. Away from the 3DS, only a small bit of talking about the Wii U to be done, because I talked on and on about the Wii U before. I've already said that I want to see Zelda U, and I think the release date will be 2015. Probably late 2015. I'm not saying I want it to be late 2015, just a feeling. 2015 regardless. If they came out and said this is coming out this year, I would lose my shit. I would go insane if they said Zelda U was coming out this year. I would be so happy. I would go off the fucking rails. Do I think it's going to happen? No. I don't. If they said it was going to happen, I would happily say I'm fucking wrong, and I'm happy I'm wrong. I just don't think I'm going to be. We'll see how that turns out. We will. I think on the Wii U we might see more from Platinum Games. They've been working very closely with Nintendo lately, with The Wonderful 101 and Bayonetta 2 obviously both being exclusives, and The Wonderful 101 being an all-new IP for Nintendo. I think a Wonderful 101 sequel will happen eventually. I don't think that will be shown off this year, but I would like them to come on stage and say, hey, here is yet another game from Platinum that we are developing for Wii U exclusively. I'd love to see that. I would really, and I've said this before, really love them to see them work with Nintendo IP such as F-Zero or Star Fox. And my main reason is that whenever Platinum make a game, they make it really technically sound. If they want a game to run at like 60 frames per second on a console, they will find a way to pretty much hit that mark constantly, with a level of graphics that look really impressive at the same time. Hell, Metal Gear Rising Revengeance with the huge Metal Gear mechs should not have been hitting 60 FPS on consoles. It's not on 360 on PS3. No, it shouldn't have. It looked so good. But they found a way. They're finding a way with Bayonetta 2. They found a way with Wonderful 101, and they could bring over that sort of technical prowess to a series like Star Fox or F-Zero, make it look spectacular, make it work wonderfully, and I think they could work magic. I think they could breathe new life into that shit. I would love to see an arcade-style Star Fox game. Literally just in the R-Wing shooting through space. I say arcade style because it feels arcade style to me now. It feels retro or something. And again, yeah, F-Zero from Platinum I think would be great. So I think we're going to see more from Platinum games in the future on Wii U, and I think we will hear something about that at this year's E3. And my final prediction is, first of all, I think, and people mentioned this, one person mentioned this, I can't remember where I read it from, but a guy said he thinks the GameCube Virtual Console will be announced. And I think he's totally right. I think Nintendo have been working on a GameCube Virtual Console for a while. I think they've been working out ways to make it work. Hopefully with a 720p upscale. I would absolutely adore a 720p upscale. If they could get fucking some of the games running from 30 to 60 FPS, I would be so happy. I mean, that's really unlikely, mind you. I want to throw that out there right now that I actually probably don't think that will happen, especially at 60 FPS because a lot of the GameCube games, the way they ran is that the game movement was tied to how many frames were going on. So a 30 FPS game put to 60 would actually double the speed of the game in general. So that's why I don't think we're likely to see a frame rate upgrade on a lot of the GameCube titles, but I do think a GameCube Virtual Console is coming, and coming very soon. I really hope it would be announced at E3. I would like it to be. I don't think it's the worst idea I've ever heard. But one Virtual Console is the DS. And we've already heard that the DS Virtual Console is coming to Wii U. I think it would work great with the gamepad and the TV. Hell, when I first saw the Wii U, I was like, oh, it's a living room DS, and I'm totally okay with that idea. And I think that the DS Virtual Console, I think they will have their presentation, be it Nintendo Direct, be it whatever they're going to do. I think they'll have their presentation and they'll be straight up like, Nintendo DS Virtual Console will be available on your Wii U after the presentation. Now that sounds like a bit of a stretch, I think, but I actually, that's something I genuinely think will happen. I think they'll be like, you've seen, we've made these games look really nice. All the GBA Virtual Console games look really nice. They've been smoothed over, and I think they'll do that with DS as well to make it look good even on your big TV screens. And I think they'll just be like, yeah, it's up after the show. Go download some games. There'll probably be a selection like 5, 10 pushing it, but yeah, totally believe that's going to happen. And that's pretty much it for a mixture of a few more of mine and a few of your predictions for Nintendo E3 2014. I want your updates on this one, and I want to hear more from you. I want to hear what you think of each other's predictions. I want to hear what you think of my predictions. I want you to talk amongst yourselves, and I really want to get hyped for this. I love E3. I think for me it's like Christmas, you know? All these game announcements, all these things to get excited about, and it only happens once a year, guys. Let's get hyped for it. Let's get excited about it. I'm booking that shit off work. Alright? Straight up. I'm gonna be like, they're gonna be like, why are you booking 3 days off work? Because I need to sit at home and stare at my computer waiting for game news. Are you kidding me? Of course I need to do that, you know? Thank you very much. Don't forget to like or dislike, comment and subscribe. And we will talk about more Nintendo shit very, very soon. Thank you very much. I've been Dave. Have a good one.